All right, let's call the Board of Commissioners meeting to order here at 10 o'clock. Those who are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, just checking, do we have anyone from the public here for comment for items not appearing on today's agenda? All right, seeing none, do we have any additions to the agenda? No?
None that I'm aware.
All right, moving on to the meeting minutes. If there's no changes, we can take a motion.
I'll move to approve the minutes from the meeting held August 20th.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the meeting held on August 20th. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose nay. Motion carries. We do have an important proclamation this morning. Proclamation number 44, proclaiming September as Hunger Action Month in Center County. And I think we have Katie and possibly a couple other people from the local food banks here to talk about it. Why don't you come on up to the podium and give us some background and additional info.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Katie Kerr. I'm with the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. This is Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather. I'm the business manager with the State College Food Bank.
And we're here this morning to thank you for recognizing Hunger Action Month, which is September this month. It's hard to believe we're already in September, but the food bank is very active this month in recognizing hunger and that it still exists and continues to grow across our service territory and across the Commonwealth. We're very active this month in trying to generally spread awareness, so proclamations like this help to further our work and give you guys some updated statistics from Feeding America, which just released a report in May with some new data showing that, again, hunger is still expanding within the Commonwealth, and many of our partners, like the State College Food Bank, are feeling that burden on their pantry operations. I think Heather might have a couple things to say about that.
Yes, thank you for having us here today and just for bringing the awareness of hunger, because even right here in Center County, we are consistently seeing increases in residents that are unsure of where their next meal is coming from. And so we appreciate the recognition and helping to spread that awareness. And thankfully, now that we are in our newer, larger building, we are poised to be able to respond to that increase in need, and we just look forward to working together and continuing to share that awareness as we do that work.
Great, thank you very much. Were there any statistics or any of the background you wanted to make the public aware of?
Do you want to? I would say one thing that we have seen is over the last probably 6 months to a year, just right here in Center County, we have seen a difference from what used to be about 250 to 300 households that we were serving a month. We're now seeing closer to, I would say, 400 to 425 households that we're serving every month right here in Center County.
So there's a greater need in the community for food and for support from the food banks.
Yes, very much so.
All right, so we do urge the residents of Center County to be generous to their many local food banks. Julie, I don't know if you know off the top of your head how many food banks we have in Center County. Is it 8, 9?
Between banks and the pantries
Yeah.
and the churches, I would say it's 8 or 9.
Yes. So we do have 8 or 9 various food banks and food pantries headquartered here in Center County. And I'll open it up to Commissioner Concepcion for additional comments or questions.
Thanks for being here to raise awareness of this and what we can do to help as well as citizens in Center County to donate to our local food banks and to support efforts, such as scouting for food when other organizations throughout the community are doing larger drives. That's a good opportunity to remember the food banks and that you need help not just at the holidays, but year round, and that people are depending on these food banks year round, and so we need to be thinking about it year round.
Very good. Commissioner Dershowitz.
Yeah, I don't think we can go to the grocery store and not realize how inflation has impacted people's ability to afford food and afford other staples of life. But I really appreciate the fact that you folks are out there as that safety net, because there's a bunch of things we can do without, but particularly if you have children, food is not one of them. That's not a luxury. That's a necessity, and we really appreciate all your efforts. And if people want to contact a food bank or contact yourselves to be able to help or volunteer, how do they do that?
One of the best ways is to visit the website. We have a lot of information available there, but just picking up the phone and giving us the call is always great.
Do you have a number that you might want to share?
Yep, it's 814-234-2310.
And they'll take donations as well as donations of food as well as cash, I would presume?
Yes, absolutely. Donations can be made on our website, scfoodbank.org. And then for food donations, now in our new facility, we actually have a donation room that's open 24 hours a day. So non-perishable items can be donated at any time based on your convenience.
Wow, that's a very nice addition.
It is.
So scfoodbank.org, plus the 8 other food pantries throughout the county. And again, as Commissioner Concepcion mentioned, this is not limited to just the holidays. As Commissioner Dersham also mentioned, you need food every day of the year. So please, everyone, be generous throughout the year. But this just happens to be Hunger Action Month. So we wanted to invite you in and talk about that a little bit. Any questions from the press on this?
So the food bank has been scheduled for many agencies with fall semester starting. There's things get busier. Does it have an impact for the food bank?
Yes, actually, we have seen an increase in the number of students that we're serving in addition to other community members. And we also work closely with the Lions Pantry, which is located right on campus. And I know that they are starting to gear up as well. They're a student-run pantry right on campus. So we work in collaboration together as well.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Great question, Gary. Unless there's anything else, I think we could take a motion.
I will move to adopt Proclamation 44 of 2024, proclaiming September 2024 Hunger Action Month in Center County.
I will second it.
We have motion and second to adopt Proclamation 44, proclaiming September as Hunger Action Month in Center County. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Come on up for your photo. And Aaron, are we going to need a second copy of the proclamation?
We just have one, because I think they're all together.
Gifts for you guys. I'll just celebrate. Would you mind taking a photo on my phone as well? Thank you so much.
How are we doing? Centering. Pretty good?
Yeah.
Thanks, JJ. Thanks for
you.
coming. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Heather, what a pleasure.
Thank you.
Step on it.
Thank you for
Somebody's
having
got
us.
to.
I know.
It's a little Hunger Action Month, little
Oh,
gift bags for
all
you
right.
guys.
All right, moving on to our next item, contracts and authorizations. John has a couple of capital project items for us.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. For your consideration are a couple change order requests relative to the renovations that are occurring at the former Centercrest facility. The first one is a change order with Ainsworth, which is one of the primes on the project for plumbing, and that is for stormwater piping changes at the facility. This was a known unknown.
Yeah.
That we had to determine once we started opening things up. So this is how to conceal some of the drains that are coming from the roof. The second one is a change order with McCrossin, another one of the primes, to demo additional window openings and adjust the window frames at the north entrance area. This is relative to, there's windows on both levels, and we had this odd area in between the two rows of windows, so this is to make that more uniform and a consistent opening.
And that'll be a very public spot, so,
Very,
yeah.
very. So we are seeking approval of capital project items 1 and 2.
Great, John. Well, thanks for the background and explanation. Obviously, when you have a flat roof, you end up with storm piping that might actually run through the building to get the water safely away. And you never know what that's going to look like until you start the demo.
Yeah, the evolution of the project, this is where it led to, was how to deal with the drains that were actually on the roof and how to reroute them.
Yes. Commissioner Concepcion, any additional questions, comments?
Yeah, this is reasonable. Just as a reminder, like in every project, you're going to have contingency budgeted for potential change orders like this, and we're still well within our contingency that's budgeted. So.
Yeah, it was all baked into the understanding.
Commissioner Dershowitz, comments or
Yeah,
questions?
unless you have an X-ray vision to see what's inside the walls, it's not until you actually open them up and find the situations that we. And this is one. It's not an inexpensive one, but it's one that is really important at carrying the water off the roof and making sure that functions properly. So I get it, and it'll be just kind of as Commissioner Concepcion indicated. It's one of those things that we almost had baked into the conversation moving forward. So look forward to see how this all works out, and we inch forward toward completion of that project.
Great. Unless there's anything else, then it looks like we could take a motion.
I'll move to approve capital project items 1 and 2.
I will second that.
We have a motion, a second, to approve the 2 items for capital projects. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now we have Chris Schnurr from Planning and Community Development with a memorandum of understanding for a subdivision plan for Penn's Woods. I think that's in Potter Township.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you and good morning. We have one memorandum of understanding on today's agenda, and just a real quick reminder what the memorandum of understanding, or MOU is what we call for short, is. Today's MOU is a 3-party agreement, and it's an agreement between the developer, the township, and the county, whereby the developer agrees to reimburse the township for the costs associated with the township engineers processing, reviewing, inspecting, and approving the engineering details of the plan. The board isn't approving the plan, it's just approving the contract so the township's engineer can get reimbursed from the developer. In essence, that's what this MOU is. Now, if we turn our attention to the screen, the first is a snapshot of the liquid fuels mapping, just to show an idea of where it is in relation to Potter Township. This is the area that's being developed right at the intersection of Taylor Hill Road. And this is 322. If you go to the left or to the west, you're going toward Boalsburg, and to the right or the east, you're going toward Lewistown. And the aerial snapshot is similar to that, and you can see the municipal boundary line. And then as you make your way, there's a street system called Tussey Sink and Taylor Hill Road. And this is a property that's owned by KCC Coal, the former John Coal property. And it contains about 71 acres. And what they're proposing to do is subdivide that into 7 residential lots. One of them already has an existing residence, so it's 6 new residential lots, with 5 of those lots being accessed through a private street called Billy's Way. The other 2 lots, lots 6 and 7, will come off of Taylor Hill Road. And that is the MOU that's being presented today.
Just out of curiosity, will this development be impacted by the potential expansion or change in the 322 corridor?
I don't believe that any of the options will affect this. I think it's going too far north or too far south.
Okay. Just curious.
Oh, good question, Steve. I
Yeah.
know that area well. It's one of the routes I take to go hiking at Collier Lake. There's a horse farm there, and I was kind of wondering what they were eventually gonna do with that land, because it's quite pretty and there's some nice views. Commissioner Concepcion, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just had the same question about 322. It sounds like that's not a concern. So.
Yeah, the coal farm is a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Questions from the press on this one? All right. Well, unless there's anything else, just signing our usual memorandum of understanding. We're not doing the development. We're not
Right.
really doing much here except assuring that all the paperwork's in order.
I will move to add the memorandum of understanding to next week's consent agenda.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to add the memorandum of understanding to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thank you very much,
Thank
Chris.
you. Have a great day.
I appreciate the slides and the context. Now we're moving on to contract extension from Information Technology Services.
Good morning. Today I have a contract extension with Mission Critical Partners. MCP provides IT county managed services for our IT support and IT infrastructure. In 2022, we signed an agreement with them that had two-year extensions on it. So this would be looking to exercise the first of those two extensions. And so this would be a 3% increase of the the monthly fee. Monthly fees would be now $76,865.68, and the total of the 2 years of this extension would be $1,844,776.23.
Great. Well, thanks for the background, Chad. And we do appreciate the work that Mission Critical Partners has done over the last couple of years to get us even further up to speed.
Yep.
As you've explained, it's virtually impossible to keep the bad actors out, but if you're a little harder to crack than some of the other places, they tend to go after the easier targets.
Yep, and MCP's done a real good job for us. So.
Great. Commissioner Concepcion, any questions?
Yeah, thanks for, I think there's been a lot of improvement in IT over the past couple of years with the eye towards cybersecurity. I appreciate the work being done.
Thanks, Commissioner Dershowitz.
Nope, I'll echo those same comments.
Great. All right, we'll take a motion then.
I'll move to add the contract extension with Mission Critical Partners to next week's consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to add the contract extension with Mission Critical Partners to next week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.
All right, and now Julia has actually only one item for us for Human Services.
No. Good morning. So I'm asking you to consider approval of a memorandum of understanding with the Eastern PA Continuum of Care, committing an in-kind match of $11,400 from volunteer time accrued during the annual point-in-time count. And so essentially this is so that the Continuum of Care can access funding from HUD. So this is regarding the point in time that we do every year. It takes that volunteer time that we have with our partners in the community and then allows for Continuum of Care to access funds from HUD funding.
Great. Well, thanks for the explanation, Julia. Any questions from either commissioner?
This is just the actual count of homeless individuals in our community.
That is correct, yes.
All right. Looks like we could take a motion.
I'll move to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Eastern PA Continuum of Care.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Eastern PA Continuum of Care. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Great. Thanks, Julia. About a medium-sized consent agenda here.
I will move to approve this week's consent agenda.
I will second
We have a motion and a second to approve this week's consent agenda. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now we'll move on to CNET sponsorships. I believe John has one for us that involves a fun event for the local community.
Yes, before you for consideration is approval of sponsorship for the taping of the United Nations Celebration Dinner event to be held on Sunday, October 27th at 5 p.m. at the Ramada Inn in State College. If you recall, this was an event that was held previous to COVID and had stopped for a while, and they are looking to bring this positive event back. So before you for consideration is approval of that sponsorship.
Wonderful. I attended it a number of times. Great program. Usually they have a presentation or dancing or a video from some interesting corner of the planet. Obviously, with Penn State here, we literally have people living in Center County from almost every single country in the world. Commissioner Concepcion, any comments or questions?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good event, and the local UN organization is pretty active, and as you said, like really pulls people in from all over the world because they're here already. So.
I think Penn State, as I recall, I think there's 80-some countries that are represented at this event, and they usually have the
minimum.
flags. That
Yes.
So it's a good thing for the community. And usually they have some theme for the event. I'm not sure what the theme is this year.
Yeah.
I know one year they went pretty deep in trying to find solar cookers for folks in the Sudan, and usually it's that type of event and so I think it's good that we highlight the folks in our community from all those different countries and why we should be working together. So I think it's a positive thing.
Great. All right, we'll take a motion for approval then.
I will move to approve the CNET sponsorship of the United Nations celebration.
And I will second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the CNET sponsorship of the United Nations celebration. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Now we'll move on to our check run with Commissioner Concepcion.
Sure. The check that I'd like to highlight this week on the check run is to Center Region Parks and Recreation. The county collaborates with CRPR on operating the senior center that's located in the Nittany Mall. And with that, I'd like to move that we approve the check run dated August 30th, 2024.
I will second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the check run dated August 30th, 2024. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. John, do we have an administrator's report this morning?
Nothing to report at this time.
Okay. Moving on to reports and announcements, I believe we have a voter's registration report.
We do. So this week on our voter registration report, we have 101,641 voters on the rolls in Center County. That is up 262 from last week, which I think is the largest increase that I've seen in my time on the Board of Commissioners, and I'm sure is related to Penn State students returning over the past week and beginning to get registered to vote here. Of those, we have 42,274 Democratic voters, 150 Green voters, 509 registered as Libertarian, 14,369 with no affiliation, 41,284 Republican voters, and all of the other small parties make up 2,973 voters, bringing us to that total of 101,641 voters. The party of the week this week is the No Party. They have one registered voter in Center County. The precinct of the week this week is 68, Patton Township South 3. There are 1,649 registered voters in that precinct, which I am one of those voters. And in the last election, they had a turnout of 36% at the April primary election. This precinct votes at Park Forest Baptist Church at 3030 Carnegie Drive, and we'd like to thank the church for the use of that space. So, that's our report.
Great. Thanks, Amber. Additional announcements, October 21st, I believe at 5 p.m. is the last day to register to vote before the November 5th election. And also, same thing, October 29th, I believe roughly at 5 p.m. is the last day to apply for a mail-in or civilian absentee ballot for the November 5th election. John, do we have any executive sessions to report or hold?
No executive sessions to report. However, there is a need to meet in an executive session to discuss a real estate matter.
All right, so when we adjourn, we'll have to change the
Yes.
wording a little bit.
Okay.
All right. So hold today. So the remainder of our public meeting schedule on Thursday, September 5th, the Combined Salary Board and Board of Commissioners meeting at 10. And then on Tuesday, September 10th, we have the Board of Commissioners at 10, a Board of Commissioners work session at 11. And then on Thursday, September 12th, at 1 p.m., we have a Board of Elections meeting. And now for Gary's favorite part of the agenda, any questions?
I have none.
All
I
right.
know it's busy today, so
Yes.
yes, I have none.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for coming, Gary. Unless there's anything else, we can take a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
We have motion a second to enter executive session at 10:25. All those in favor do so by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are in executive session.